Hey, what's going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I wanted to cover some price targets for all the blockchain players. We did start off the week pretty strong, a nice run up across pretty much all the blockchain players in the portfolio. However, I don't think this is a reason to become too excited just yet. Just in general, just to sum up my thoughts before I even dive into each one individually, I do want to say that I definitely think that we're going to start to capitulate sideways. And the reason is because after all these run-ups, we try to look for a stable line of support or an area of support. And so that's what we are going to try to do. So for Bitcoin, we had a nice run up to start off the week, which obviously drove the price up for all of these stocks. And in case you guys don't know, there is a very, very high correlation between Bitcoin and all these blockchain players. So when there's a disassociation between any of these players and blockchain, it's a very good indication of hype. So what do I mean by that? When you see RIOT climbing, even though the price of Bitcoin is tanking, that's a very, very good indication that there's a lot of hype trading going on. There's a lot of FOMO going on. And so that is the perfect opportunity to be selling. It's the perfect opportunity to be taking your profits out and waiting for the dip that will eventually come. Sometimes it just takes time. Sometimes it just takes patience. The one main thing that I want to get across in this video is to be patient. Okay, we're gonna see it capitulate for the next few weeks, maybe even next few days. I don't want to put a time frame on this just right now, but I definitely do think we're going to capitulate sideways. We are going to have some higher lows, climb up eventually to 60K. Once we hit 60K, that's when we're going to see our second run up, or even third or fourth run up at this point. I'm not even too sure. There's been so many run ups for all these blockchain players that I've honestly lost count, but we are going to have another run up similar to the one we saw about 2 weeks ago, in which we set new highs. And so I definitely am basically stockpiling on option contracts, on shares, for all these companies. Every single player that you see I am invested in, I do have my money on. And so I do want to go ahead and take you guys through each of these players and show you guys exactly what I'm thinking, where I'm buying in at. And for the most part, guys, I'm not selling. This is a great opportunity to buy, and also I'm holding. Okay, it's very important to have a strong stomach. These next few days to weeks are going to be very, very volatile. It's going to make us rethink whether we should have some of these positions. And really the best thing to do, my number one advice, is to give yourself some time. Especially if you're playing option contracts, give yourself some time. And by that, I just mean be fearful of theta. The theta value of your option contracts will definitely kill the premium of your contracts. So give yourself as much time as possible. These can take off as soon as next week. These can take off almost a month later. And so definitely be mindful of that. Give yourself as much time as possible. I personally think around April, May would be a great place to start buying in terms of options. That's what I'm doing personally. I do want to give myself as much time possible. Really, any option contracts expiring before that is just a gamble. And it could work out to your advantage. I'm not saying that you can't make money off of it. I've definitely have played short-term option contracts, but as a swing trader, what I found works best is spending a little extra money to buy the contracts that are further out in expiration dates. That usually is what profits me the most. Let's move on to Mara. Okay, so Mara, where is a good price to buy? I will go ahead and zoom in right here. As you guys can see, I personally believe that we are still in a downtrend until we at least break back up into this pitchfork channel. That will make me super, super bullish. I do definitely think that we can hit about a $52 Mara by the time we break into this channel. And so today's obviously rally did take us almost back to about $40. I do think we're going to float in between anywhere $40 to about $33, maybe $32. Maybe even as low as $28. Guys, the further this falls, the more I'm confident in picking up. So as you guys can see, we already are forming a stable line of support around $28. And so I wouldn't be surprised to see it pull all the way back down to about $28. And again, I'm just going to be picking up more and more option contracts, really doubling down. I'm looking for that nice solid line of support that could be at 28 or about 32. Either one I'm comfortable buying in at. And that is my plan. And I'm just going to be stockpiling on these option contracts and waiting for the next run up. Here, let's move on to XNET. So XNET is also one of my personal favorites. In fact, every stock on this list right here that has a market cap of under $1 billion, I'm super, super bullish on, more so than RIOT and Mara. Obviously, RIOT and Mara are my personal favorites in terms of fundamentals and long term, but every other stock on this list, okay, they're great momentum-based plays, which basically means since they have smaller market caps, it's very, very easy to 2, 3, 4, 5x these stocks. And so already we are seeing some insane growth across all these stocks. Like we did have a pretty bloody week last week, but even then, even after last week, we still are up a couple 100% percentage points for each of these stocks. And so for XNET, okay, XNET has a very, very small market cap of about $500 million, under $500 million. And so I definitely think over the next few weeks, we are going to easily break the high that is set just a couple weeks ago at 11.17. Or at 11.15 and continue to break new highs. Right now is a perfect buying opportunity. I definitely am buying in. Today we saw some nice growth, but I also think that we are going to pretty much capitulate right here, stabilize. We might pop off a little bit more, but for the most part, we are going to find some solid level of support anywhere in between these two lines. Obviously, pretty big gap here, but this is what I'm playing. This is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the medium to long term. So my contracts are expiring mostly in May, June. So I definitely do have a lot of time here. And I definitely do think in at least 2 months, we can see some pretty significant price action. Again, these smaller market cap stocks are pretty prone to insane volatility, insane spike ups. And honestly, we just didn't see that much of a spike up, at least compared to other stocks in the same sector. The second wave of the stock, at least, we will see an more insane spike than we did see the first time around. So let's take a look at Overstock now. This is also one of my favorite stocks. Not only are they involved in e-commerce, retail, but they're also a blockchain giant. A lot of people don't know this about the stock, but I definitely did want to make a video about it. Never got around to it, but basically just to give you guys a rundown, they are specializing in blockchain infrastructure. They have an entire subsidiary called Medici Ventures dedicated to building out blockchain infrastructure for other companies. Instead of charging them up front, they basically take a percentage of their company, and so they take equity in the company in return for building out their blockchain. Definitely an interesting business model there, but also a very profitable one for future long-term growth. This is one of my long-term big investments. So Overstock, if you guys are interested, go ahead and do some research on the stock. I definitely think it's worth taking a look at, especially after this nice pullback. Actually, very nice buying opportunity. I also think that this is an overcorrection, so it pulled back further than it should have, especially beating earnings almost by 20% here. I think we should have at least seen some spike upward. But again, last week was a brutal red week, so I'm not that surprised. So I am basically just picking up around this area right here. So this definitely could come back down to like right here. I personally don't think it will. I think we're going to, from here on out, we're going to continue ripping unless, of course, the market decides to take another dip and sell off. But if that happens, then we'll come back and reevaluate the stock. Canaan, not sure if I'm saying that right, so forgive me if I'm saying it wrong. Now, this stock is doing a little better than the others. It's pretty much establishing a nice line of support anywhere between $15 to about $20. Obviously, still very volatile right here. I definitely think we're going to continue to capitulate. Maybe a nice buy-in point. I don't want to say it for this stock just right now, but probably anywhere between 16 to about $18. I am looking to buy around that range, and so when it does pull back eventually and capitulate and form a nice level of support, I definitely think that we can find a nice buying point for this. But again, this one I'm not really in the interest of swing trading. I definitely took profits up here because it's so hard to see like bubbles like this and not take profits here. Looking for a good buying point, still haven't bought in. I think it could fall a little bit lower, maybe pull back. But again, in terms of long-term growth, I definitely do think that we can again set a new high as soon as Bitcoin hits 60K. NCTY, the 9. This stock did see some very explosive growth. This stock honestly surprised me, guys. I didn't think that this would take off this far, but honestly, I should have been expecting it because, again, these smaller market cap stocks, and I keep repeating myself here, but I think it's very important to point this out. These small market cap stocks have so much more of a chance to blow up like this. Obviously also come crashing down like this. This correction was about, I believe, a 64% correction ish. And so this stock definitely did have quite a nice run up. And if you played the stock right, if you took profits where you're supposed to, even down like right here, you would have been fine. I definitely do think that we're going to see a second run up for all these stocks. And right now we're just going to capitulate. I don't want to say a buying point for NCTY right now, but if you are holding on to shares right now, I would personally keep holding on to those shares. This stock I'm no longer invested in. I sold out like pretty early, like around here. I definitely think it was becoming super hype, super irrational. But there were people who bought on the first rally at $19. I had users commenting saying like, hey, should I hold it? And I said, hey, look, I don't know. I'm not too keen on the fundamentals of the stock, but just hold on to it, see what happens. And so things like this can definitely happen. I definitely think that this is going to happen to a lot of the blockchain stocks in the next run up. And so definitely for SOS, keep an eye out on that one, guys. This is one of my favorite players. Last week when it dipped to a low about $4, I was super stoked. I got in super low. I averaged down, and I also opened some new contracts up. I will show you guys that in a different video. I definitely do think that we can see something very similar to what NCTY did on the last run up. Again, these smaller market cap stocks, it only takes 1 or 2 investors with very deep pockets to come in and move the price of the stock sky high, and that's what we saw here. And that's what we're going to see in the next run up for all these stocks. All right, moving on to Hive blockchain. I want to keep it simple here. I don't want to do too much TA like I said earlier, but basically just look for a solid support level. In my opinion, a solid support level will be around here, about 360, maybe 350. And look for the capitulation. Look for it to hit that support level multiple times, and then that's really a confident spot, at least in my opinion, to buy in at. And so right now I'm going to be buying it at anywhere below 380, 390, or really just even below $4. It's just a good buying point. The lower it falls, the more I buy. And this stock, I'm not swing trading. I do want to mention that. Other than Mara, RIOT, XNET, Overstock, and SANP, I'm not swing trading any other stocks in this list right here. So this one is just kind of a set it and forget it. Every dip I buy more. And so the reason I'm not swing trading these is because I don't have the time to be swing trading these. They do have a significantly bigger market cap than most of these blockchain players. It's not as small. It's definitely not as volatile. And so, corrections like these are pretty standard right here, about a 30 to 40% correction. And then obviously the bounce back up, and then it capitulates, and then the second run up. So I'm basically just adding every time it dips a little bit. I just continue to build out my position, and just really any price under $4. I'll try to keep it under $4. I will be buying in at. We're going to skip HUT 8 in this video and move on to Santo Mining Group. This is a company I recently added to my portfolio. I covered it in, I think, last week's video. I gave you guys a heads up that, hey, this stock is going to be very explosive, very volatile. I didn't say to buy this stock, but I did say to keep an eye out on it. And so this week, it definitely had its pullback. I was expecting this. I was waiting for this. I was honestly kind of starting to wonder when it was going to happen. And again, most of what you expect eventually does happen. It just might take a little bit of time. So that is where patience just comes into play. And so today we did see that pullback despite Bitcoin climbing. And so again, when you see that disassociation with Bitcoin and a blockchain player, it's prime time to either buy or sell. And so for this stock in particular, I will be buying. It reached a low of about 1 5/10 cents right here. So I definitely am slowly going to start buying back in. I sold about half my position up here. I'm going to start slowly buying back in on the way down and wait for the second run up. Smaller market cap stocks like these tend to climb more aggressively and sell off more aggressively. But again, if you can just simply find a nice level of support to buy in at. So in my opinion, a good place, a good, nice, solid level of support to be buying in at would be around 1 cent. And that's really where I'm going to be picking up the majority of my shares. I definitely picked some up back here, and so there's really just no beating that. I don't think we're ever going to go back down to like 1/10 cent, but as long as we can come to about 1 cent, I think that would be a pretty nice place to buy in at. And then obviously wait for the next run up. We probably will capitulate. We'll probably will go under a cent, over a cent. So it will just be pretty volatile for all these blockchain players. But again, strong hands always experience the best gain. All right, last but not least, I do want to cover SOS. This stock was very hype. It speaks for itself, as you guys can see. And really, this stock, I was very lucky to have caught it down here. This was one of the very few stocks that I caught at its very bottom. I don't think it's going to come back down to this low, but if it does, I'm just going to add more. So this run up today, as small as it seems on this chart, was very reassuring. I definitely think we're going to climb anywhere between 30 to 40% to the upside in the next couple of days to weeks, and then obviously come back down and then bounce back up. And so we are going to form a very nice line of support. My best guess is around $9. And so really at that level, I'll be very comfortable buying and doubling down on my position. But even really anywhere below $9, below even this price level as well, I am comfortable buying. If you guys did buy up here, it's fine. I definitely do think as Bitcoin closes in on 60K, whether that's in a few days or maybe a few weeks, I definitely do think all these blockchain players are going to have a nice run up beating these previous highs. I've seen it over and over, time and time again. It's just all about buying the dips and being patient. That's all it comes down to. Definitely don't expect these gains to like happen over the course of a week, but when we see those run up, they might come in the course of several days. And so it's really just all about holding for like several weeks and then experiencing gains in the span of a couple of days and then making sure to take those profits. I will keep you guys updated on all these stocks, guys. Let me know in the comments what you guys want to see, what your guys' price targets are. Of course, as always, smash the like button for me if you guys did gain any value from this video. And with that said, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.